Hello and thank you for downloading this episode of Discussing Documentaries. I am Matt Wills and this is Rick Wharton. Today we are doing Home Game Episode 1, Calico Storico. It's from the year 2020. The provider was Netflix. The director was Austin Razor. No money, no accolades. I think this was made just for entertainment, right?
Yeah, it's like a fun docuseries of weird sports, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how this made it past the Wharton control system, if I'm being honest with you, but it did, and here we are. Here's the blurb.
My worry for Matt's mental health.
I'm watching it going, oh, this doesn't tick any of the boxes. Home Game is an 8-part docuseries profiling unique and dangerous traditional sports from around the world and the communities and cultures where they thrive. And today we are focusing on episode 1, Calico Storico. Rugby meets mixed martial arts in the brutally violent Calico Storico, a traditional sports of Florence, Italy. Now, this was recommended by my great friend Ozzy Sara, who made a massive donation to our coffers, as well as signed up to the Patreon, and my mate JP, who, he has helped me in comedy, and he taught me about poo. So thank you both. But mainly Ozzy Sara, who went on about this. She phones me up when she's drunk from time to time. She phones me up when she's drunk from time to time. She has a go at me about you and the Newcastle takeover because her dad's a Geordie. And I listened to her for about 2 hours, and she is the most interesting person I think I've ever hung around with. She's brilliant. I genuinely miss her. She's not dead. I just want to point that out. She's living in Australia. And we have the greatest chats because she was one of the best people I've ever drunk with. So, it's quite handy she's not here. I'd find it quite hard not to drink if she was around, probably, just because she's so interesting and funny.
I'm a big fan of Ozzy Sara, but she is mistaken on whether or not we need this takeover. Anyway, so Florence.
But how did you? I don't get, because obviously we both have to put the thumbs up. How did you put your thumbs up to this?
I was sold on one, the runtime.
It's 38 minutes.
2, we said on the last episode after we got political again that we'd do a fun one.
Fair play. Yep.
And 3, I had seen this episode before. I didn't realise it until we watched it. But me mate Jay, yeah.
Did you watch the roller derby one as well?
Just this one. Literally, just the minute I saw the fucking big fellow with the tattoos on his hand, I went, nah, exactly what this is. This is...
So effectively what it is it's 27 blokes in an enclosed football pitch, and you have to get the ball. It's a ball game, and you have to get it into the net at the other end. And you have it's a 2,000-year-old game, and it comes from Roman legionnaires. And you almost have the players set up like Roman legionnaires. So you have the blokes at the front, because when it starts, they're clobbering the shit out of one another. And then you strategically place people throughout. And the second I was watching it, my brain is like, I'm going to go and do this. This looks fucking great.
You're fucking joking me.
No.
You'd like to play that game?
Yeah.
With the big guy going, you've just got to stay out there for 50 minutes. And then you see them just go, bang, 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 in the middle. It's a game of skill.
Lump.
It's not just about the violence. You see them, smash, 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 smash. You see someone have like a 25-step run up to punch someone in the face at the barrier.
Yeah. It's insane. It made me think from the British equivalent is like Witherspoons on a Saturday night in Romford. It was just rough as fuck. And yet, basically you have to be born in a town.
In Florence.
In Florence, in Italy. and you have you can't change teams. That's your team. Your teams. There's only 4 teams. They only play
the
twice
blue,
a
the
year.
whites, and the reds. That simplicity, I do like that. I like. Excuse me, son. I've been playing for the Reds for 20 years. That's it.
Yeah.
Our great rival, the Whites.
There's no transfer fees. There's none of that nonsense. There's no salary. You can get injured, and they didn't cover the deaths, but people would have died, right?
So the worst that had happened is someone's had their eye ripped out.
Have you seen? It's an Al Pacino film. I think it's with Jamie Foxx. Any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Willie Beeman. You got to believe I love that guy.
Right. Was he the Jamie Foxx guy?
He's got the juice, yeah.
Right.
Keep on steaming. It's Willie Beeman.
There's a bit in that where a bloke gets clobbered in American football and you see his eye come out. Yeah. And he's like, ah. But this was just rough.
Inches.
And there's not much...
We win or die on these inches.
Any given Sunday. Everybody raved about that film.
It had
Why?
cool moments. If you like American football, I can see it. But I think it's directed by Oliver Stone, so it had all that daft stuff that Natural Born Killers had, where it would go to split screen, then go in black and white, and then show a scorpion in the desert, and then come back to a rap song. Like, Oliver Stone's like a pretty kooky director.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
But the backflip for the touchdown is incredible.
What, on Any Given Sunday?
Yeah, so Stephen Willie Beeman, he's the third string quarterback. Two get injured, 2 quarterbacks get injured. He comes in and he's running towards the line. He jumps up and then he does like a backflip over them and lands on it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And then because of that highlight, he becomes the global sensation.
Right. I don't get how I've never heard of this before, Calico Storico.
I think it's because you're not from Florence.
But how is this not more publicised? I loved watching this. It was so violent. It just it clicked into the 14-year-old Chuck Norris fan in me.
Let me tell you, when I joined for one tournament, the rugby team were getting ready to go out after lunch. Our PE block I remember vividly, our PE block had burnt down, so we're getting changed in the IT rooms. And they're saying how such and such is ill today, we only have 14 players. And I know you need 15 for a rugby game, right? So I turned around to the PE teacher and went, oh, so at school level, you're allowed to lift each other up on the line out, so you got to be left standing. He went, oh, it's just standing. Do you play rugby? And I went, I've dabbled. They went, do you want to play today? I went, yes, I do. So now I'm on the rugby team. I got down.
I'm just going to quickly describe Rick. He's, what are you, 5'7"? You're one of the skinniest motherfuckers I've ever seen.
5'10"ish, but I'm not a rugby player.
No, you are not. You are not a rugby player. You've got heroin chic about you, is what you've got.
I went to uni and didn't spend money on food.
No.
So, whatever the fucking thing, they kick the ball off, comes to me. I run forward. No, sorry, we kick the ball off. Gans to a big lad on the other team, and all I was told is you dive in at their knees. That's all you got to do to tackle them.
Right.
So I dived in at this big lad's knees. His knee went through my collarbone. I was injured for the rest of the tournament. I had to come straight off.
Well, that is very, very Calico Storico story. That's
yeah. So all I could imagine is me walking out there in there and just being in a guillotine choke within 5 minutes, and then sleeping for another 49 minutes. There's other people who are trying to claim they're doing it for their kids. It's like,
oh, that's ridiculous, isn't it? They're doing it because men like to be violent. It's as simple as that. It gets an aggression out in them. We've got testosterone, right? And it fires. It goes. Well, that's what makes us like that. These blokes are just addressing it in quite a controlled way, it seems. But they are literally punching the living fuck out of one another. And this is going to sound so... I think I was getting off on it. I was watching it going, God, this is sexy. And one of my mates who recommended it is a gay guy. And a part of me is like, why would he recommend this to me? Why is it? Oh, it's because the blokes are stunning, right? To look at. They've really worked on their physique. They're incredibly well cut. It's like they look like MMA fighters.
They are MMA fighters, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just, and I was just transfixed watching it going, oh, this is, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about my homoerotic fantasies. Yeah. Is that going to pop up?
Matt's going to learn something about himself today. That's what's happening today.
I didn't even know I was in the closet. Oh, fuck. Now I've got to come out.
Episode 2, Matt finds out he really likes high heels. But it's, I'll tell you what I see the allure of. It's the community. This is their thing, right? And when you see them walking to the game, so they only play 2 games a year, semi-final and a final in a tournament.
Yes.
And they're 10 days apart. So you may even only play 1 game. You're part of a team of these bunch of jacked animals. And I'm sure that's a status thing. You only play for the district you're from.
That's right. Yeah. You have to be born in the area.
When you see them walk out and they have because there's fans for it. Do you know what I mean? It's a full little arena. They've got commentators for it to be on TV, and they've got the flare guns, and people have got their faces painted and stuff. It is absolutely it just takes over a town for a day, and it's weird. The winner of the tournament gets a cow.
And back 2,000 years ago, when the first official game was in the year 1503, I think, on the 7th. They're very specific about the date as well. It was the 17th of February. Okay. Yeah, and we documented everything. Now, bear in mind, Florence, Italy, home of the Renaissance, and this insane sport. And then they show you shots around Florence. It's
I was
gorgeous.
About to bring that up. Yeah, if they didn't have the shots of Florence, absolutely all in the wrong, in a different language. I almost said wrong language. How whitewashed is that? They're all speaking wrong over there. No,
someone had to type in what they were actually saying underneath when they were talking.
Yeah, but if the character of Florence and seeing all these massive statues with dick sizes that make me feel better about myself, then all have
speak for yourself, handsome.
Come on, there is something that there's well, listen, I want a great statue, but I don't want the guys in town to feel bad walking past it.
Is that what it was? Everyone was paying the sculptor. Yeah, don't give the women any better ideas. Come on.
I think it was initially massive, and then just over the years, everyone's took an inch per year. It's just there you go, David. But what was I on before the dick size thing? Around Florence, and just how much it's all fucking loved. Yeah, around there, and to be a part of that team, that mentality of it as well, the adrenaline to it, and some of those guys, they really look like they enjoy fighting, and they're not allowed to in regular life.
Of course, they're not allowed to, right? I've never been to Florence, but my nan was named Florence, so I should probably go. This is weird, right? So I'm house sitting in Essex, and I'm at the guy's desk, and he's got that screen I just showed you, that's bigger than me. But even on the screen on the desk that I plugged into, for some reason it showed a different bit of IMDb, and this review popped up, and I never read them because I don't want to dirty my brain. But I don't know why I read this one.
Too busy reading about the scat community.
So this is what it was. It said, this is the review on Calico Storico. Fascinating but disturbing. I'll be honest, watching this made me feel grateful to not live in any of the countries that these sports were showcased. Not only because in some cases you just felt horrible for those that had animals involved, but because many of these countries just are so poor and so dirty. Except, of course, Scotland. I still found the series interesting and well made, and I'm glad I watched. Hang on, so countries are poor and shit, apart from Scotland, and you didn't enjoy it, and it got no thumbs up. That thing. I was just surprised that someone would go to the bother of writing that.
I bet he checks that every day to see if it's got a thumbs up yet.
That's worth getting into IMDb, giving it a thumbs up, leaving it for a day, and then taking the thumbs off. Yeah, you fucking idiot. No, but I love this, right? So it's rugby with no rules. The Italian fella, Riccardo Lo Bew. So he's like the main guy you get to meet his mum.
Yeah. And you can tell he's trying to force a conversation between those two. It was difficult. He's like, yeah, I just want to stay on the field for the full 50 minutes because that's what I expect from my men. She's just like, I don't like you playing that. He's like, yeah, I'll probably going to have to fight really hard.
But when he's talking, right, so he's sitting down and has the talking head, and there's a few of the geezers are talking heads. Bear in mind, she was the only woman in it, right, his mum, and she was in it for about 12 seconds. He was so sweet, and when he was talking Italian, he sounded so cool and lovely. And then it cuts to him literally across this bloke's chest, removing the guy's face with his fist. Bam, bam, bam. Fucking hell, mate.
And then it cuts back
to him going, it's a beautiful game.
I do it for the culture. It's our history. Yeah. It's him headbutting a teenager.
Yeah. There was one geezer was standing there, and literally the bloke must have done, as you said, a massive run-up, and he poleaxes him from behind. The geezer went flying up in the air, smashed down in the ground. Bloke jumped on top of him. And once you're on the ground, you have to stay on the ground.
Yeah, that was a rule that, it makes a difference. So you're not allowed to get back up until a goal is scored.
Yes, yeah.
So basically, the midfielders all fight, and then they lie down on top of each other until a goal is scored. It's kind of like the Toxic Masculinity World Cup. Is what I thought it was.
There's a great quote. The thing that separates Calico Storico from other ball-based sports is the bare-knuckle boxing that's used to clear a path to the goal. This is what football used to be like before VAR. Like if you watch Leeds from 1970, it's exactly what was going on.
The Bremer teams. But when you said that how cool they sound, I thought, do you know what? That could be a little lost in translation.
Of course it could, right? They could have
you can imagine
accents, right? Like rough as fuck.
Like, we had a game where we'd meet at a pension monument every year. And what you do is the biggest in the town, and it was a great thing to be the biggest in the town, and it didn't look down on them like you were the guy for the day, and you'd go in there and you'd get this big wheel of cheese, right? And what you had to do is you'd all run at him, right? Down this hill, you'd run at him. And it was the last person to hit him with his stick didn't get any cheese. There was no transfers like in football. There's no rules really. I mean, you weren't allowed knives after 87. But you can't tell because it just sounds magnificent Italian.
Because they do. They just sound beautiful. Oh my God. What is he talking about? Oh, he's talking about rupturing that guy's tendon so he can never walk again. Oh, okay. All right then.
I couldn't help but think about the where to invade next. I'm like, so this is what they do with their lunch break. Just fucking go to the gym and get fucking jacked.
What are your goals? I want to knock someone down so that my province wins a game. Did you ever play English Bulldog when you were a kid?
British Bulldog, yeah.
British Bulldog, right. Yeah. It's like that, right? But less violent. Like British Bulldog, you could generally beat the fuck out of some kid. Or be the kid that gets beating the fuck out of.
Yeah, in the version you played, because I think there was one where you just shout, everyone runs, and you catch one or two. But in the game we played, it'll be done like on a netball court, so like the semicircle where have the posts. And that's the safe area. And then so whoever's on would call someone's name, and then that person would have to individually run, and if he got caught, everyone could run. Or if he got to the other end,
yeah, okay, all right.
And that was brutal, because you didn't. If the wrong person was on, you did not want to hear your fucking name called. And you're like, yeah, oh, great.
Yeah. What do you think happened
is.
to some 3-foot kid named Matt Wills? What do you think happened to him when he played Bulldog?
I imagine you had some ginger mohawk and you demanded that you were on because you were overcompensating massively.
I fucked people up. Yes, I was that kid. Yeah.
Like I said, there's a thing like
Stop me at your peril, motherfuckers.
There's little things I do you don't even click to, Matt. There'll be times I'll just nudge into you on a gig and I'm like, this guy is just so solid and aggressive. Like, there's little like tests. There's a Patrice O'Neill one where he talks about someone kept nudging into him and didn't realise it was a punk test, like to see what he was like as a kid and then stole his Pumas off him. But yeah, I've walked into it a few times like, now that guy's wired and ready to go. He thinks it's about to pop off at any fucking moment.
Who was I talking to yesterday? Was it you about, you're short, so you're like a Jack Russell, you're not a Rottweiler? And I'm like, yeah, the thing is though, about in my head, I am a Rottweiler. So I don't see myself as the Jack Russell because I never really look at myself in context.
Yeah, it's all half-length mirrors.
That's why when I look at myself on stage, I'm like, fucking hell, I'm tiny. And I'd never noticed that before until I look at the video back of me on stage. But in my head, I'm as tall as Big Adam. Right, that's how I see myself. I'm like 6'7". I'm built like that fella who helped you move in. I'm that guy in my head. So my perception of myself is so wrong. That's body dysmorphia. I think I've got.
That would be in the reverse. So for me, is a complete. First off, I'm a little brother with a brother 5 years older.
Yeah.
So I know the difference between a power dynamic of I've got no chance in this fight as I'm a 10-year-old being panned in the face by a 15-year-old or choked in me fucking sleep. And then also it's the land of fucking giants, man. Like I told you the other day when I got the taxi at the train station to come down for the Vineyard gigs, my taxi driver had traps, those neck muscles.
You said, yeah.
And I'm like, who has ever been in the fucking taxi where the guy's got like neck muscles bulging fucking out? I've never seen that in 33 years. They're all just fucking huge. Had a guy come and deliver vegan cakes to me door.
You said,
yeah, he rocked up and he was just looked like the mountain from Game of Thrones. And first off, he didn't have the cakes in his hand. He had a tattoo on his face, which was just a catchphrase of how he was feeling the day he got the fucking tattoo, like across his eye. And he just looked at us in his shorts and his polo shirt, like, "Have you ordered some cakes?" Yeah, I have. Here you go. Here's your French fancy, sweetheart. And then goes back to the car because he didn't want to be seen with the fucking vegan cakes. He walked back to the car to get the cakes.
Is this why you bought the home gym? Because you want to fit into you want to become a Calico Storico type looking fella.
Yeah.
So you fit into your environment.
I just need some get off me muscles. It's not about how I look. It's in case if shit goes down.
Yeah. It's perception muscles is what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Unfortunately, the same problem as when I was a teenager when everyone was doing steroids. I just prefer playing the Xbox. I've now got addicted to... I bought the Mega Drive Classic Games pack, and I've since played about 500 games of Columns.
I don't know. What's Columns?
It's a bit like Tetris.
Oh, okay.
You'd be a big fan of it. Yeah,
no, that fits into me. There was a great game on the PlayStation 1 where it was basically Tetris, but you had a first-person view of it, and it would come towards you, and you were the guy, and you had to run out of the way. It was one of my favourite games because it was still a block game, but you had to get over. Yeah, it was superb. Anyway, back to the documentary. Did you notice the narrator?
No, I did not.
It's Mark Strong.
Who's that?
Where do we begin? Rock and roller. This is how you slap a man.
Oh, right. So he's in all the...
he plays the villain always. Have you seen
Kingsman? The Guy Ritchie
Kingsman?
Movies.
Yeah. Have you seen Kingsman? He's the...
Yeah.
He's the arms, the Scottish bloke who supplies the guns. He's that guy.
Right.
He's in...
I get you.
He's like... he's the villain version of Benedict Cumberbatch.
I get you.
Yeah. He's the narrator.
See, I would love this to be a computer game. This would be the most fun computer game you could get.
Well, you've got Call of Duty, haven't you? Gears of War.
Yeah, but it's not this game. I mean, if it was a sports game you played online against people like FIFA, but like half the time you're choking people out, then the other half. Because I've got UFC games, I've got football games. They merge those two together. I'm happy.
Yeah, like I said, I can't believe this is the first time I've heard of this.
I can when you watch it, because even watching it, they didn't show a whole heap of the highlights. You see a couple of the punches in the middle. I think here's probably the problem. It's too much going on at once.
Yeah, there's too much to take in.
Because there's 11 people punch. You don't have 11 MMA fighters against 11 MMA fighters. It's 1v1, so you can watch it.
Yes.
For a start. Yeah. Secondly, watch them when they're on the ball. So the guys with the ball basically have to stand still until they think enough people have been knocked down.
That's right.
Then they take a run at it. It's not like this. It's not as a free-for-all as what you would imagine on the field. Here's the problem. I think they'll play in a 4-5-1 defensive.
Because there's 54 geezers on the pitch.
Yeah, ever since the purple team won in bloody 92, everyone's realised if you play 11 at the back, then anyone can win. And now it's like Dave Bailey's quote: "It's not an art, it's a science."
How does the manager discipline those players as well? Oi, excuse me, sir. Can you stop hitting that bloke with the palm of your hand and use your elbow because he'll go down quicker? I'll do what I like. You're not my real dad. Have some of this, you prick.
You may notice something, that there was not any managers for the team. I think that goes to whoever's the biggest and the angriest.
Yeah, fair point.
I couldn't take any credit as a manager going, yes, you did it, goal!
We are proud to introduce Steve Bruce as our new manager.
Steve Bruce and Pep Guardiola fucking getting each other in arm bars on the side. He's not allowed to make subs until I break his arm.
I think they should bring this in for kids. The kids are
I think we should bring in an anger management therapist for you.
No, but listen, do you not remember being a kid and you were so angry and you had all that pent up aggression, and instead of just punching that poor kid who said something wrong to you in the school corridor, you'd be like, I'm going to fuck you up on that pitch
because
when we do Calico Storico on Wednesday.
It gives that self of entitlement and puts import into violence. So I think that would be the wrong way to go. Speaking of someone who hopes to have kids someday.
Yeah, but some people want to be violent, right? And we pay millions of pounds to watch boxers beat the living shit out of one another.
Put them into boxing training with other kids that want to box.
No, put them all in, man. Let's get survival of the fittest.
Survival
where
of the
me and
fittest.
You wouldn't make it.
Yeah. I would make the warm-up jog.
Why isn't there a podcast about documentaries? Oh, them two kids didn't make it past 4th year in school because they had gobby little mouths and they had the shit kicked out of them by huge men.
The amount of sunburn I would get in Florence would fucking just nullify me as it is. So it never catches. You're not touching me back when I'm after I've been. Get off us.
I don't get how the sun makes it for all the hair on your body. It was just, I loved watching it. I absolutely loved watching it. Do you remember when they were walking, they were walking on their training pitch? They're filming
doing the chanting and things.
Yeah, when they're doing the chanting. Yes, because it reminded me of, do you remember when you were a kid at school and you went, let's have a game of war, and you'd link arms round another chap and then another chap, and then you'd walk the three of you in a line facing outwards with your arms around one another going, war, war, war. And then other blokes would just join on the end, and eventually you'd have a line, then you'd cut in two and you'd have a game of war. Did you do that at school?
That one was lost in translation for me.
You didn't do the war, 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 war.
No, that wasn't one of ours. But you love a gang. Do you know what I mean? You love that feeling of a gang.
Yeah.
Gangs and corporations. That's
Yeah, that's what a
Gangs
corporation
Incorporated.
is. It's a gang that don't pay tax. There's not really much else to say about the documentary, is it? Apart from Italians are incredibly cool.
I'll tell you, there was a strange scene because between the semi-final and the final, they talk about you never have the same 27 players due to injuries.
Yes.
Obviously. They're doing a lot of injections in between that.
Cortisone.
Did they say that?
No, but I've had cortisone injections like that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's fucking awesome.
I thought they were doing like the Ong back fucking steroids into their hearts and be like, let's go.
No, basically it stops your joints and your bones hurting. You get it in there and it numbs it up for about 3 months. It takes all the pain away. It's gorgeous. It really does work.
It's one of those ones, right, where you can tell it was recorded over a couple of days.
Well, it would have been over that 9-day period, wouldn't it, of when they played the... Yeah.
And basically, because there's a couple of scenes, much like him talking to his mother, there's like a couple having red wine and putting olive oil on a salami sandwich in the park, and you're like, this is the most Italian thing I've ever seen.
Exactly. And his missus refers to him as, "Will you be okay at the game, my love?" You're like, oh, that sounds so romantic. Oh, and it's romantic.
So forced. Yeah. It sounded like, oh, so that game that we've already spoke about for 9 months, how are you feeling now that the cameras have finally got the right lighting? To be honest, it couldn't have been. If the Super Mario Brothers came out of a fucking pipe and then went to dinner with the fucking Dolmeo family from the adverts, it's about as Italian as it fucking gets with that in the park. I don't know what it was about, just the fact they had a special wooden thing to put their olive oil in. It just wound me up. I don't know why it wound me up. It's like,
they're having a picnic. He's being romantic. Was it the romance? Is that what's triggering you?
I don't think it's the romance. I don't know. I don't like documentaries when pitch are staged. Where is a lot of this, right? I would have happily seen 2 minutes of talking heads, then the semi-final and the final and the full game, as opposed to the documentary.
Yeah, I can say. I must admit, if we weren't recorded now, I'd probably be on YouTube watching it. I want to see a full game. I want to see. Yeah, I want to see these people punch the shit out of one another. It really
putting together little elements of what you're into and stuff and your personality type currently, because it bounces around with the moon.
Of course it does. But I'm not into MMA. I don't watch MMA. I don't watch boxing.
Very susceptible to joining a fight club.
Tomorrow, I'd join a fight club tomorrow. Have you heard? You know, Fight Club exists in the city of London. So
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, there's like legitimised. You can go there and train. They're boxing rings. So me and my mate, we have said me and my mate Andy, we are gonna get into the ring together and knock the shit out of one another. And I'm quite keen on the idea.
That first punch is gonna shock him, and you want to hope you put him down, Matt. Because you're going to go too hard, too fast. There's too much.
Oh, God, yeah. Windmills!
If you don't think if I get a bus lip, I'm not going for your hips, you got another thing coming.
Well, that's what he said. It's because I got the broken neck, the broken hips. He's like, I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, well, you can fucking try, son. You can try.
I know.
Come on.
I know you've got that ego, but it's not as if he can put his hands in the air and be like, yeah, as you're lying on the floor. Like,
never walking again, paraplegic. No, I'd really like to. He was the funny kid on my birthday who did the roast.
Did he ever want to gig again? He can do a gig for us.
No, not Jim. That was Jim. It was Andy, the guy who went last, who did the big chocolate, little chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to knock the crap out of one another because there's a lot of love and a lot of hate there.
Oh, because he's worked with you.
Yes. I'm terrible to work. He just wants to hit me.
You know what it is? It's not even your person. It's the switch, Matt. It's the switch. It's the from the put this on my fucking back to you didn't tie your shoelaces in 1987. Well, what the fuck are you doing, mate? That doesn't make sense. I would love you to find a release. This is
me
okay.
too.
If we have any listeners that care, if you have an idea for releases for Matt,
Yeah.
What have we tried? Jumping out of planes?
I've tried it all. You name something dangerous, from drugs to extreme sports. I've tried it. I'll tell you what I've never tried: skiing.
Skiing?
Yeah, but I
That
can't afford that. I'm a gigging comic.
Yeah, you don't want to do skiing. Skiing's a holiday. It's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's a rich man's thing.
Try skateboarding and see how you feel.
And then when Ricardo Low blew, I think he's my type. I didn't even know I had a type in men, but I think I found it. When he said he's been injured so many times, and then he listed what has gone wrong with him. So yeah, they broke my left knee, then they broke my right knee. Did they break it, or did you break it hitting someone in the face with it? Did I ever tell you about that geezer in Stratford?
Tell me about it.
So so there was me, Paresh, and Harry. It was after a West Ham game, and the bloke looked like Arnautovic. Do you remember him, the Austrian fella, right?
Yeah, I know Arnautovic.
We have no idea what happened, but we saw the Arnautovic fella stood off against two other fellas, and everybody backed away, and it was by a cash point machine. And there were thousands of people, right? It was after a game. And then the Arnautovic guy, he hit one bloke. He stepped forward and he fucking lumped him one. And the geezer went down. And he did not get up. And I looked at Paresh, I went, did you just see that? He was like, fucking hell, that was amazing. And then he looked at the other bloke, and the other bloke was all bouncy. And he looked at his mate on the floor, and he just started backing away. And then Arnautovic fucking just grabbed him and started beating the shit out of him. It was brutal. And then the other guy just slowly gets up, and Arnautovic lets the guy go, and they both sort of hobble off. I had no idea what happened, but I've never seen a geezer go down like that before. And this is what it reminded me of, this Calico Storico. And in my head, I'm that guy. And I know I'm not.
Why is that something you want to aspire to? Like,
no idea.
At a serious analytical point, like,
I have no idea.
What would be good about that?
Nothing. I'm 5 foot tall. There would be nothing good about. Well, actually, I guess that's the wank fantasy thing, isn't it? It's, I'd never be bullied again. But no one bullies me anyway. So what am I worried about? I'm 50 years old, for fuck's sake. God, I'm swearing a lot today as well. I think I need to move back home with my missus.
You digress to a teen. You digress to a latchkey kid over the course of a few days. I'm noticing an attitude change.
I'm a cat sitter as well. I sit there with this cat at night like a Bond villain. Yeah.
Just drinking all this coffee, going, yeah, whatever. You can't tell me what to do.
I've eased up on the coffee today, man. Right. Is there anything else you want to say about this doc? Because I just loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. And once we finish this, I'm going to try and watch a whole match.
The red team won. That's worth mentioning.
8-2. They won 8-2. Second year in a row as well, they were champions.
Yeah, he cracked his rib during it.
And he said to the guy who cracked his rib, he said, "Oh, I've hurt my rib." And the bloke went, "I backed off. I'm not here to hurt anyone." Mate, I've just seen you punch a guy in the face for 3 minutes. What do you mean you're not here to hurt anyone?
Well, I think that could be what's lost in translation to what we think. So, like, they fight each other to the ground and then it stops. And then they're not allowed up until a goal's scored. As opposed to, like, because when you hear a 50-minute fight, right, opposed to a 50 where someone's just getting their heat kicked in for 50, no one would survive that.
No.
Like, no one would be back the next year. That's where there's a little bit of nuance towards the rule of it. Obviously, I'm not saying it's not the most brutal sport I've ever seen, because it 100% is. People getting punched in the face all the time. But the idea that once they're down, and I didn't like how the refs dressed like clowns. I don't know why, but I know they were dressed like jesters. Yeah, the ones wearing shirts. Do you know the bald, skinny guys that weren't punching anyone?
No.
No, you're just looking at his pecs, weren't you?
Do you see that one guy's nipples? Man, they were like pint glass size. They were huge.
I couldn't even. I didn't see that.
It's weird, isn't it? You see the ref. I'm like, God, that's a weird nipple. What's going on with that?
What's it? And then the last one is the Mohawk dude who has the job in pharmaceuticals.
He's in IT support.
He has his child in Florence to give him the right to play the great game. So he moved back to Florence to have his baby.
You thought he would be a bit of a dickhead, right, when he was saying that? Because I'm like, is that what you dragged your missus like Joseph dragged Mary across a country so you can have a kid somewhere?
Well, if I didn't move back to Chester Street, my offspring wouldn't be allowed to be in the big wheel of cheese battle royal every Easter. So it's about with culture, Matt.
If your kid as well is going to have to support, if they were born in Surrey, they'd have to support Manchester United, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now they're allowed to support, I guess, one of two teams.
Well, it's interesting because my brother lives Leeds, and his kid's always been a Newcastle fan. And he's joined Sunday League football, and now he's in school. He's actually came and asked permission to be a Leeds fan, and obviously we're not dicks, so it's fine. Well, because he just wants to be a part. It's a thing you enjoy with your friends, is football.
And your dad granted. Your brother granted permission for that.
Oh, of course, yeah. My brother's not an arsehole. He was just that's fine. So we bought him a Leeds stop like that day for his birthday. Like we did, yeah, that'll annoy Dan.
But have you told him though that Marco Bielsa is not going to be there for forever? This is a short-term thing.
The lad's like 7 or 8. He doesn't realise, man. Like,
but you wouldn't let him. You wouldn't let him stick his fingers in an electrical circuit. This is very much the same thing.
No, because it's about the bond. So I have friends, like my closest friends, the only thing we've spoke about is Newcastle United. And there's been plenty that's happened in our last 20 years we could. But I will go months without something, and you go, did you hear that Amanda Staveley said this about the takeover? And I'll be like, I did. What do you think of this? I think it's about that. And that's the only time we have crack.
This is the equivalent, when you talk about your dad talking about bird watching with his mate.
Yep.
Yeah, that's that. I must admit, the bloke I'm house sitting for, we go to football together because we support the same team. It is a bond.
Blokes don't know how to do nothing together. Watch women interact, and I'm being very general here, and I apologize, but they can go and sit down and just have a cup of tea in someone's house and talk about how they like the fucking colour blue and what's going on in their lives. You can't, like, in your life, you'll have like 5 male friends you can do that with, and about 45 you talk about football with.
Well, we bonded initially over comedy and football, right? We went to a football game together. Yeah. Well, good point. Well, good luck to the kid who's going to support Leeds. I'll
tell you what, it'd be gutted if the takeover goes through, because last year he was a Newcastle fan, and my brother was even saying he doesn't know how lucky he is, because financially they'll dominate the world, and he's not even had to watch the shit we have for 15 years now. And then he's, if the takeover goes through, I imagine he'll be dusting off that Newcastle United shirt before you're not.
My stepbrother switched teams. He was Arsenal, and then he switched over to West Ham.
Because everyone else that he knew liked them, or not because West Ham's a better team. So it's definitely not because of football.
I couldn't even tell you why. Actually, I don't think that should be discussed. That's his decision.
It's like the idea you try to go to a conversion camp beforehand. Just with pictures of Henri going, why would you want to leave this? It's
I really love him. Right? He's a lovely bloke. But in that, I'm like, why? Sorry. To me, he's an Arsenal fan. And I can't move along that in my head. You know when you get the cycle of
ingrained.
Hate? Yeah.
It's ingrained. This is a step nicer than almost like a bigotry almost.
Almost.
Like, So if you think that people are going to accept, like, there's people of a time and of an age, and to accept someone changing fucking pronoun when they can't accept that they want someone with an Arsenal scarf, now they've got a burgundy one.
That's right.
Like, there is no chance in hell that these people can wire that that's ever all right, because in their mind, it's brutal. If you do that, you'll be hammered.
But I will happily, I'll recognise pronouns, got no problem with that at all. Now I've been taught how important it is. But recognising the fact that he supports West Ham, I'm fucking sorry. That's a bridge too far. I can't cross that bridge.
It is. It's funny because, like,
it's insane. I even think less of your nephew, and I know he's only 7, but I'm like, ugh, what?
It's all right.
That kid doesn't know. What's he?
It's at least 13 years before you can join the Patreon. You can say what you like.
Do it for Uncle Rick. Go on, sign up to the Patreon.
No, because I'm already the one they point at and say that's why you have to work hard at school, otherwise you'll end up like him. There's enough fucking shit like that guy.
You the example. All right, so give us a score on. I thought we could have on this one. We could have doubled it up with the roller skating one. There's a roller derby one on there.
Yeah. Oh well. I'm giving this a fun 2.5. Wasn't long enough to be great, but it was an interesting thing to watch for 40 minutes. Like, it wasn't spectacular, but it's got talking points, and it is like it wasn't bad to watch. I can't stand doing these with subtitles. I'm missing half the fucking.
I was going to say, yeah. No, I know you struggle with subtitles, so that's why I said to you, this is going to be great fun if you can read subtitles quickly.
Yeah, you're bang right on that. I'm trying to go because they've even got the mayor to tell the story of the game, and they said that the game was so beautiful that they didn't say the score, so winners and losers weren't remembered. I'm imagining the person keeping the score got a concussion, and there was such an argument over who won that they were like, "No one wins. It's a beautiful game."
Yeah. Yeah, it is a beautiful game. I'm giving this 5. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
A 5.
Yeah, man. I just loved it. I know it wasn't a typical documentary, but it entertained. I was entertained. I was entertained.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. I feel weird. I feel like we haven't put a shift in.
No, me too. This was Home Game. The Netflix series. You're probably gonna have to reach out and be positive about this one if we're gonna do another one like this.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. I'll see you next week.
All right, take it easy, guys. And as I said last week, I will start reading out reviews of fans. So if you send them in, the problem is when we bulk record these, we haven't given people a chance to listen to the advice of getting in touch.
Yeah,
well, we'll work it out.
We need you to get in touch. So on the show notes, there's our email address, our Facebook page. You can send us a message. We would love genuinely to hear from you, because engaging with the people who listen to this, I think that's almost as much fun as actually recording the show. Just talking to people who are very like-minded.
Of the people that have got in touch, they've all been great crack. So
superb. Yeah, absolutely love them. Anyway, I've been Matt Wills. That was Rick Walton. Ta-da.